cameras and computers. Let me go sit at KP's desk, huh? What's up, brother? Don't watch what you say now, because we live now. You know,
Oh, we
that's a
live. All
real
right, I
short
gotta be
interview. Watch
careful.
what
Gotta be careful since we live.
watch what you say, because we recording, we live, and all the things. All the things. What's up with you, brother?
Nothing much, man. How you been?
Trying to live, trying to keep up. Goodness, trying to keep up.
Keep up with what? You doing your thing. You doing
Man,
your thing.
the brain just doesn't stop turning though. Right, I got a lot of things that I want to do, and man, I wish I could just find a couple more hours in the day. Pastor, tell me
Got
how
you.
to find just 1 or 2 more hours in the day to get it
The
in.
I don't know how you find it, man. You take it one day at a time, man. Take it one day at a time. That's all you can do.
These marathons, though, I wish some of them were sprints. That's all I wish some of these marathons were sprints so we can get this in just a little bit quicker. Yes, they go senior in the building. Good to see you, sir. I'm gonna see you in a little bit. So I'm on a pitch clock tonight. All right. So
Uh-oh.
my son is he's got a soccer game tonight.
That's
So
right. Your son named Isaiah too, right?
yeah.
And
And
we both got Isaiah. See
see
that? We
that's how
smart,
you
man.
know it was meant to be. Right?
That's it right there. That's it, man. Look, keep it plain and simple. Isaiah.
That's how you know it was made to be. You know, name the first one Jordan. Named her after
There you
Mike.
go.
I don't care what nobody said. And that's what she named after Mike, the greatest of all time. Didn't matter if it was going to be a boy or a girl. So, so yeah, she's named Jordan, and then we named Isaiah. He's not after Isaiah Thomas or nothing, but just nice biblical name.
Right.
There you
Well,
go.
both of them biblical. Jordan River.
Yeah. She actually got sand from the beach at the River Jordan because her great grandmother went there and picked her up some sand. So yeah, we got it in vials somewhere. Yeah, listen, that's what we do.
I like that. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it.
When the world calmed down a little bit, maybe I'll take her over there as well. But right now, we need everybody acting a fool out there in the world. So I don't know if I'm gonna.
You gotta be careful with these. Gotta be careful with these folk out here now. Gotta be careful.
Well, what about you, man? What's going on in Philly? You and them Eagles getting ready? I saw Irv out there talking today, and I saw Dr. Fry talking. Y'all ready to fly?
Yeah, man. I think it's rough when you got to get started all over again. But you're in the Super Bowl, so since you were there,
so close.
You go again. Just winning the championship is it. So losing the Super Bowl is not fun, but when you go that far, it's just like you get all hyped on that momentum. It's not like you a team at the bottom where it's kind of like we ain't going nowhere anyway. So you just like get it over before Christmas, so we know not to even have hope. But then it's a different thing when you going into the Christmas holiday, like, yeah, we might get it. And then when you get to them Final Four and you don't get it, it's when you get to the final 2 and you miss, cool, right? Not cool, but cool. But if you're in the Final Four and you miss, that's rough.
Gonna be some explaining to do. So this is what you could do now, though. And I'm thinking about this from your creative side. Get you a press pass, get you some photography pass, get out there on the field, get you some action shots. Yeah, some KP originals. Man, KP originals.
I thought about it, man. I just got hope that some other exclusive stuff will come up. Because that's a good spot. But it's funny that there's certain opportunities like that that'll limit you, because to be on the field is different than to be in the room, right?
That's true.
Because in the room you can be more of a personal photographer. You can get them invites. When you out on the field, you a dude on the sideline with a camera amongst a whole bunch of other people. But if you can be that guy at the table after it's over, different story.
Getting a different reaction.
Look at my ISO playing around over here.
I thought it was just a little cinematic he was going with.
No. You know what it is? Remember I said, playing around with these daggone, when you have people in and out the room and you kind of gotta reset some things over. What was it? It was the metering, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the metering. Keep Pelzer over here fixing the metering.
Yeah, it is on
Gonna get
on
that.
on the live. Okay, don't let him get to pushing buttons on Stream Decks because he get
I'm like,
so
oh
folks that don't know nothing about the street. Keith got all these buttons on his desk, and you mess around and
man.
start pushing things,
I
and
ain't been live in so long, so I'm like, I'm sitting here like, where's
that's the
the
reason why.
stuff at?
That's the reason
Yeah,
why he's scared now. No.
yeah, I'll figure it out. Where's this other button at? Um, oh, you know what's crazy? I thought about, and you don't have to do it. It's not even needed. You never play music.
That's true. You know what? I
You don't
don't.
need to because
I
it can
just
get
put in the sound effects once in a while because I don't want us to get a strike and nothing. We trying to
right.
get that Google money. We trying to get that YouTube
Yeah,
money.
you're right. See, remember, I used to play music on my lives all the time, and it was dope. But then it was just like, I don't know. Then you just stop playing them because you have to remember them. Then you forget them. I
Yeah,
don't care
see,
about 'em, you
and
know.
plus, I don't have. I got rid of Epidemic Sound,
Oh, okay.
so I got another service that I use. I'm trying to. I got just like you. I got kids in college. All right,
Mhm.
so all these extra subscriptions. $30 here, $50 here every single month.
Oh, yeah, you got cutting things
You see what I'm
down.
saying?
Oh,
But we not cutting out everything. Um,
how about you with the equipment though? I saw
see
you selling.
why you
You know what? See, I did. I actually had a need for the did you sell a ZVE10?
I did. I sold it to Dr. Elo. Sure did.
Man,
He got on the
I
real. Listen, I got a lot of stuff still for sale. I moved some gear, uh, replaced some gear, and
mhm.
streamlined some gear. So did all the things.
He got in early and he got in smart, and I said, "Daggone it."
He got
He got that.
Elo know
Yeah,
my stuff will
yeah.
sell in a minute, and he came at me in like 20 minutes. He said, "You still got it? Just barely. You better get on
Oh,
it."
smart guy, smart
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he jumped right on it, and because you had that piece, that was a smart move.
Speaking of
Very
Dr.
smart
Fryer
move.
right there, listen, was just talking about the man. His fingers must have been itching when I was talking. I was saying something good about you, brother. So I said I checked you out earlier today on on.
You you know what's crazy, man? I when I saw you selling that gear, because I was like, I'm gonna sell gear because I think better when I streamline stuff. And one of the things I was going to drop on your show here on this show is the fact of when people want inside information, they want that if you show them rather than just talk about it, then you talk about what you've shown rather than talk about something that you never show. Right. And so I was watching you selling stuff and I was just like, yo, we owe it to people to say that, you strip down once you get a baseline on the things that accessorize your creativity.
Yes.
So, and then you have to because you can't be in the game of chasing unless you're a product reviewer. If you're a product reviewer, you get product, but at the same time, the win-win on it is when, sorry about this adjustment, but the win-win is when Sony, like if you watch some of your favorite people, they go, oh, I got to return this. I like it. I may buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And what most people don't think about is you blowing your budget trying to get the thing that they reviewed, but they ain't even got it. They
They ain't
got
even
rid
got
of it. They had the lens
it.
for like 2
Yep.
weeks. They like, oh, it's dope. And then they get rid of it. Then they like, oh, the new camera. And you got people, then by the time they buy it, they're throwing up a review like 5 months later. It's like the new camera, like you reviewing a ZV-E10. That thing been out for over a
It's been
year.
out for a year.
What you reviewing? Like we done saw the reviews, and the reviews come from the people with the early, hand on it. And then even those people, they're trying to sell it, but they themselves aren't buying it. So they're still doing their footage on a A7 III, A7 S3, and they reviewing that A7R5, got you buying it, and they don't even have it. And you
See that
following them off of a camera that's 5 years old.
Yeah, see that's
Crazy.
something I think that the regular consumer doesn't realize, right? A lot of these folks that are doing the review the day that something launches on Best Buy or wherever, they got an early copy of it, early release of it, but they got to send most of that stuff back. All
Mhm.
these bloggers and video people who get early access to Apple gear, they got to send that stuff back
Right.
within a month or so, or 3 weeks, whatever the case may be, and then it, most of those reviews, to be honest with you, aren't even 100% factual. They are completely biased. They're not like, and I'm gonna pat ourselves on the back. They're not unbiased like us. We will actually say the stuff that we will use and
Mhm.
stuff that we agree by and the things that we advocate for. That's why, man. I was gonna say I don't like the word influence, and here I am wearing my influence shirt. I gotta change this. Uh, but we stand by the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah,
And
because
that's
it's
why
not.
really I just watch other folks. I watch some of the people that get the early access to gear with just a grain of salt. Because again, one day they're talking about Apple, the next day they're talking about a Google phone or a Google tablet or whatever.
Yeah.
The next day they're talking about a Samsung one. Like which one are you using? You can only use one at a time.
See, this is why I like people like Monty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Monty, as long as you know that Monty is I promote products. I do like a soft review slash promotion open box on stuff, right? You don't know him as a Sony guy, Fuji guy, Canon guy, SM7B guy. You don't know him as that. You just know him as Amazon, right? And Amazon got a ton of stuff on there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Monty came on there and started showing you what pots to get. I ain't mad at him because like he reviews product. I'll just be like, oh, that's the difference from electronics. But okay, he's an Amazon guy. Then you got people that's like, oh, I'm in the cameras, and then you have GoPro. The next thing you know, 360. Then it's something else. Then it's DJI mic. Then it's the small rig mic, all over the place. And then there's that part where it's like, what's your content look like? So if I
Mm.
jump on and start talking about cameras, I got an Instagram page to show you that I use this stuff, right? And now I'm starting to do a little bit of BTS to show you I use it, right? Most
Oh, we
people
gonna
are
talk about your IG page. Don't listen. Hold on. Don't act like.
this,
Don't just gloss over that. We
no,
gonna
but
talk
but
about
but
some of the things you've been doing lately. But yes, sir, yes, sir.
and trust, like to the point, it's like so it's getting caught up in, and here's something that I would like to add value to people, watching this later is um not getting caught up in chasing the latest because it's like the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Matrix problem is you get caught in the clone Tyrone type situation. I'm gonna leave that all alone, but you get that. Some people like it, some
Y'all look
people
that
don't,
up.
but I
Y'all
get
look
the
that up.
point, right? I thought it was pretty good, right? It was kind of like I'm going to get you sucker type, whatever slash reality. That it's like, yo, do you want to be in this trap? And technology will really start to tick you off. But for the true creatives, right? The true creatives, you can't chase that because you'll never be able to produce because you got to choose. You can't chase and produce technically
Yes,
at the same time. Very
that's a good
few
point.
people can do it. Very few people can do it. So for somebody that ain't been in the long game, it's like, nah, you can't do it. Like, if you really want to do photography, you got to pause for a minute. And when you choose to buy the camera, you got to dig in. It's going to take you years on that camera. You can't get the camera and then jump into the next one, jump to the next one, jump to the next one.
Well,
And
and plus
then,
you got to relearn your gear, right? You got to learn it from a different mindset, right? Because we are
yeah,
video folks, and you got to learn all of the photography aspects, right? You need to know f stops. You need to know
yeah,
ISO. You need right. You need to know different terminology as opposed to just focal length things like that. So that's a good point that you mentioned right there. Yeah.
yeah. Even lenses. Like I started out, and here's the funny thing: I did my research, and I started out with that Sigma 2470. It's a couple of people on
Mm.
Instagram now that are pulling up either the Sigma for value and quality, or slash if you just got the loop, the G Master set 24 to 70, right? And most people wouldn't know what you need it for, right? So you get people that you go in the store, they're gonna sell you whatever they trying to move, and people get suckered into it, and they new with the camera and they got prime lenses and they don't do portrait shots. And you kind of like, bad move there. I I feel as though I did it the right way. Got that 2470, learn how to work this stuff, figured it all out. Heard people, oh, 1.4, 1.8. Well, that's a 2.8. So I'm sitting there like, I don't know what the heck 2.8. And so I had to learn what that means. Then you get the money and you get a prime, then you realize that majority of the shots that you do in the prime, you're at 2.8 and above. So
Yes.
you kind of like, oh, so then you gotta ask yourself, well, what exactly did I need a 1.4 for? Oh, bokeh and low light and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, next thing you know, now you got a flash. So then you can put the 2.8 back on with a flash. It's like you take time to learn that all of that's happening while you got an A7 III. The 4 then came out, then the 5, because it's got this, and then the ZV-1, and people chasing, oh, you get that. And everybody becomes a hype man. And then after a while, people are stagnant and then they're frustrated because they can't never create. Meantime,
because they got so much infrastructure gear and they haven't learned how to use it.
Man, I'm in groups and I'm seeing like we're sharing and people are like, yo, man, you dope. And I'm sitting there like, this guy's fire. And then when people list the cameras that they shooting with, I'm in a group. It's a dude shooting with an A7 II. His pictures are better than everybody's pictures. You hear what I said? I mean, better than everybody's pictures. And everybody's like, so what you shoot with? I got the A7 II. We like, dang.
I'm shooting with an old Pentax, old 35 millimeter Pentax using Kodak
we up in
film.
that joint with 4s and 5s, 5Rs and 4s, right? And
you dope.
The OGs is up in that joint with the dopest pictures. They got 3s and 2s, like
that's
early.
Great. Hey, that's Ansel Adams, right? Again, that's you can get out there with a Polaroid and you'd be all right. To be honest with you, just learn your gear, learn your equipment, and see, I'm in trouble here too. I had a feeling that this man was going to ask me some questions. Said I ain't reached out yet. I know. You know what?
Oh, you better get him.
No, I'm trifling.
Kevin,
so I'm flying tomorrow to. Am I going? Colorado. Be there for the weekend till Tuesday. I'm gonna be locked in. Dr. Fryer, I'm gonna work you up some workups, some mock-ups, some overlays. And I'm gonna call you. We're gonna get this done. I apologize for my.
He gonna do that while he chilling in his spa robe and slippers.
I am, but see, and this is why I got to get out of town for a minute because I've been locked in the lab for too long and haven't raised up, and this is going to be my reasoning to get back out. So I apologize. So I say that to you live on the air. It was my fault. It wasn't Keith's fault.
So look at this. Look at what Kevin said. I like what Kevin's popping off.
What's that? Let's see.
Kevin says the Tamron 28, right? 75, right? 2.8. It's been a game changer. And then so look at what he says, though. The A7C Mark II or the A7CR got my wheels turning. The rumors of it. Here's something that most people don't know. All right, again, so I went and got the A7C because it was kind of like a hybrid / full frame version of my A66.
And that's a hot camera. I had it too. That's a high camera.
Yeah. First thing that ticked me off with it, I just don't like the viewfinder. If you shoot with your eye to the camera, it's not the best if you're into professional photography. And most people don't know that. As a second camera, as a hybrid or something, is cool if you shoot off face. But if you coming in, it's kind of like not the ideal camera for your main camera. And this is something that most people don't say in reviews, right? So the honest reviews aren't going to inform people of the obvious of, look at where the viewfinder is. I mean, the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at where something comparable like an A7 III or all the other Alpha series, look at where they're at. And then think about it if you're doing this as opposed to this. If you off face with everything and doing that, cool, great camera, right? But if you're here, that's really just not Like I even bought a piece for it that they have on Amazon to put it, so it covers the eye
Yeah,
better.
and extended EVF. I've seen those
Yeah,
because
and
it's
it
so
was just
close on those
like,
smaller cameras. Yep.
yeah, it wasn't the best. And so my son uses that camera and I use it as a third camera. It's great for traveling. And that's another thing. Have you noticed in most of our communities, we spent so much time talking about, oh, so I got this. So when I get on a plane and blah 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 blah, and then you get all this compact stuff and you get where you're going, and you kind of like, I need most of this stuff that I could have really just put in a big case and
Yeah.
had it with me. So like, what's the deal with portable stuff if the portable stuff ain't as good as your main thing? Like that stuff I just don't get. I'm the guy that if I start doing and putting a throttle on YouTube, I want to be the most realist person because I'm going to shoot at people that just try to tell you, oh, this is better than a GoPro because you can do this and do that. And you're trying to sell it to people that who sits there and rides and film themselves the whole time, other than the crazy people that other people shoot the picture for you. So it's really not.
No, I'm
You
not
hear what I'm
doing it.
saying?
No, I'm not doing it. Yeah.
And the other thing is, where's the footage? See, this is the thing I start to ask.
So
Where is the footage?
you shoot all of
me.
this film, and you shoot, and you still have it on your iPhone, you still have it on your GoPro and your SD card, and you haven't processed it.
Where's the
So
footage?
let's talk more action. Let's talk more action is what it is. Let me see what these comments are saying. So Kevin is saying it's not about the tools we are using. It's knowing how we use them. Go ahead now. Get someone who knows what they are doing. A phone, it will outperform someone who has no idea with a $5,000 or $6,000 camera. My goodness. Right.
Right. Come on.
That's true. He talking truth. That might be exactly why I get more from the A7 IV. I still gotta save up some of them pennies, especially since I've got bigger hands. See, there you go right there. So he can't mess with the A7C, right? Just because from a not aesthetics, but just ergonomics perspective. It's meant to be small. That's why they built it that way. Very compact, but he's gonna have to wait for something else with a little bit of a bigger body and maybe that grip on it.
So the challenge is like, who's it for, right? Because I mean, let's be honest. So then you got cages, right? First thing I tell anybody is if you got a pretty big hand, like right here, the cage matters. I get the cages so that I have a place to rest my pinky and walking around with the camera, especially if you put a 24-70 on your camera, you got weight. So when you're holding the camera here, this pinky is like dangling down here without a cage. So with the cage on there, you get a rest. And then the A7s are big enough for grip here, but with a cage on there, you have even more of a grip space. So now here's the thing. You go for A7C and hand positioning is a big factor, well, you just lost the whole game, right? So if you're real meticulous about the feel of it, that's not your ideal camera, right? So that's why the other ones are made like they are. And to be honest, this is why if you take a Fuji, a Canon, a Sony A7 series and all, put them right next to each other, they all literally kind of got that kind of shape going on for holding it, doing photography. But if you just kind of like a casual shooter, that's where your A7s and the other ones come in. And God forbid, here we go with the 67. I like Manny Ortiz, my guy. He basically was just like, you don't need a 60. He literally almost crapped on the 67. I promise you he did. He's a real guy. Cause it's like, if you got the ZV-1, don't even entertain yourself with a 67. You're good. If you got it. If you didn't get it, it's like, okay, you can start looking. But if something comes out better in the lane of which you already have, it's like, whoa, Kemosabe, and ask yourself, why do you need it? Next thing is somebody reviewing a gimbal that's bragging about a ZV-1, contradicting yourself. Because like, what are you getting into? Steady shot, so you don't have to carry a gimbal, or you in the gimbal? Which one? Can't do both.
Y'all ask
because you
y'all
add a
questions here.
gimbal.
KP is giving the class.
You you
Y'all,
get gimbal, you got extras. You got an extra thing in your bag. If it's all about, ooh, this camera got stability on it. Okay, then don't talk to me about the gimbal. You feel
you
what I'm
got it built
saying?
in.
Unless
You
you're
got it
shooting a
built in.
movie, you taking footage of like 8 feet. Who cares if you got a ZV-1 or a gimbal? Like, hello. I'm trying to help people.
You just, listen. Again, I didn't stop buying. So you talking to the choir right now, but I'm not spending no more money. We trying to help Gretchen. We trying to help Mr. Cox, and we trying to help Dr. Stone up in here, right? And
So
everybody else that's listening.
So here's the value statement. The value statement is this: the companies are going to make their money off of people that don't really know.
Just chasing the hottest thing.
I'll try to tell you. No, but listen, this is the way economics go. This is the way the world goes. This is the way sales go, right? There's an opportunity for influencers to say, hey, the latest gear. Notice the language, the latest gear, not the gear I always use, right? That's when there's like nothing coming out for a minute, or there's a semiconductor shortage or something like that, and everything's slow. We're twiddling our thumbs on the new A7. So then to keep the YouTube page going, it's like, you know what? One of my favorite lenses is the Sigma 2470.
How long you had that lens? Yeah, 5 years.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a 5-year-old lens, and they're giving facts. It's still one of the number one lenses, right? But they're doing that because we're bored and we're twiddling our thumbs. So now we're talking about the stuff that we've been using or whatever. And then when the next load of stuff comes out, you have to pitch it like, this is going to change your life. This is going to make you better. Whoa, here's the problem. That's like saying a new piano came out and you never study how to play piano. It's not going to make you a better pianist, right? Because you don't know how to play. A new trumpet came out.
You don't know.
You're not going to be a better trumpet player if you never learn how to play the trumpet. So whatever you start with now, you take that, dig into what you're doing, learn it, and then you get according to what you want and not tell yourself you need it. That's the piece right there. If you always look at the difference between what you need and what you want and be honest about it, you'll have a better collection of stuff and stay creative.
I'm gonna let that marinate right there, because y'all know I'm gonna cut that up and that's gonna be all over the internet in about 4 hours. But that really is that's the hotness right there, right? Get it because you need it. No, don't get it because everyone else is getting it, because you hear the marketing hype, you hear the hero numbers, and when again those 80% of those folks that have the product aren't gonna keep the product. They didn't buy the product, they got it, and they're reading off of a script, right? Understand what your why, your reason is, and man, stay in your own creative lane too. I think that's some of the issue right there. A lot of folks are trying to veer into other folks' creative lanes and trying to be like Mike, right? Trying to be like somebody else, as opposed to pausing, stepping back and saying, what is it that I want to do? And so I actually will applaud you, because that's what you did, right? You saw all this other stuff that was jumping off out there in these streets, and you said, you know what, I got talent from all aspects, all areas, right? Musically inclined, entertainment inclined, speech inclined, right? I can do all these things, and now I'm going to switch over and start doing some photo. I got all this gear, but let me get the right gear, and now let me do the KP on it. I like Manny Ortiz, I like Jason Vaughn. I'm gonna watch them and I'm gonna look at what they're doing and just take some insights from them, but I'm gonna do my own thing, right? And not a lot of folks are courageous enough to do that. And I think that's where a lot of folks falter, because they don't step out on faith and do their own thing. They're always trying to mimic someone else. So there's where the frustration, I think, comes in.
Yeah, and you know what? And then there's, you know what? I want to like applaud. The other thing is know who to watch, know who to follow, and understand who you're being influenced by, and make sure that your influence is fluid with who you are, right? Because if your influence is not fluid with who you are, you'll be able to determine it, because the mix of the drink is going to leave you intoxicated rather than feeling better, right? So you got to know who's fluid, who's who's the influencer that you like, and are they fluid with you? Like you got to define what do you want to do, or understanding yourself. What am I great at? So, vision wise, take for instance me taking pictures, right? There's so many rules with pictures and composition and stuff, and I get confused. I'm like pro photo to Godox to,
Hmm.
something else to whatever. And then there's this simple thing about lighting, like, shade, light, boom. There's a ton of different modifiers you can use in their shapes for whatever reason. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, it's just too much. I gotta stick with what works for me and stay in composition. And so I said this recently on a live stream. Most of my pictures, you won't be able to look at the picture and say, oh, that was done with an A7R5 and that was done with the A7 IV. Those are my main two cameras. You wouldn't really be able to know. And I'm pretty sure I can pull out my APS-C cameras and take certain dope shots with the lens, and you probably wouldn't notice the difference because it comes down to the full product of my vision. And that goes into what I do with Lightroom, how I see it, how I play the picture and whatnot. And none of that has to do with the A7R5 having a better AI autofocus than the A7 IV.
Come on. Perfect
Ye-
segue. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Keep going down that path right there, because it's perfect segue. That doesn't matter what the camera is, doesn't matter how big the sensor it is, doesn't matter what the lighting is. It's that creative input.
Hmm.
If y'all haven't seen, I'm gonna say it one more time. If y'all haven't seen this man take this picture right here, listen. This picture right here had me. I was commenting left and right. If there was more than just hearts that I can do and likes. If I could love it, if I could do some other thing, just the emotion that's in this series of photos right here, regardless of
You,
the location, because there's a story behind the location, and you were talking about that right there. But just the whole, again, that cinematic feel. No one else is taking pictures like this. And you could have taken this. This may be with your drone. Who knows? You may have had the DJI flying in front of you, and you might have.
yeah.
You don't even have to tell us, but right, something
No,
like this right here.
I can tell you. You know what? I'm glad you like that. So the interesting thing about that is, I think tomorrow I'm probably going to post another picture. So I took a. That's the day that I did that sermon on Monday. So that I posted when I was at the
in the pews
conference.
too. Was that the one I was in the pews?
Yeah, yeah. So I had to wear a tie and stuff, and I was laughing because I was like, I'm putting sneakers on. I ain't putting shoes on because a lot of the OGs were there. So every time I put a suit on, I'm like, let me find a shot. So one of my things that I do is I literally will drive and like scope out a spot. So that movie theater is going to open back up under no new company, but it was a Regal Cinema and they closed down. But the lights stayed on. So every night you come up, the lights are beautiful and they on. And I'm just like, yo, how's this place closed, but it's still lit up? So I was just like, I got to get a picture in front of there. And I just didn't know where to take the picture at. And so I literally set up that shot where, if you notice where my arm is falling, the light action on that one side and then the darkness on the other, the stop sign there. And I had to try to position my head lower than than that neon light at the top. And here's the crazy thing. Underneath my feet are lights. I put the lights underneath my feet. So they're two Ulanzi lights, the two little small like magnet Ulanzi color lights. I got 3 of those and I put those two. Thanks, Joel. I took and I put the lights underneath. So my left foot my heel is on the light and the right foot is sitting in front of the other light. And I matched the blue to the lights behind me and I put it on the ground. Now, somebody commented on the picture, they thought that the light was shining across the ground, but I added those lights to give it that kind of like Michael Jackson. What's the video Mike was walking on Mike David Hunt? You know, Michael Jackson is walking in the video and the ground lights up. I was trying to get that kind of
Billie
effect.
Jean. Wasn't that
Billie
was Billie
Jean? Yes, yes, Billie Jean. So I was trying to get like a Billie Jean-ish, you know, foot down and light on the ground.
See, all that extra into it. Lights underneath, lights taped to your feet. Come on, color grading the blue. Getting the arm position right. See that's what people get when they hire KP photography. I don't know what you officially call yourself. Maybe call the condos.
Just,
you know what? But it's all good.
And that, you know what? And that's interesting because it's kind of hard to work with people. Not hard to work with people, but I don't just like solicit myself for clients because I do photography like I did music. Like I wasn't the you know, the studio that's looking for people to come in and sing so I can charge them by the hour. It's got to be like a project.
Gotcha.
So, you know, somebody says, "Oh, I want to take pictures for my birthday." No disrespect, but I got to feel you with it. And then I got to see you. And, you know, I need to see, like, think about it and say, I need to know if you got time because we got the flow. Let's get a bite to eat, you know, and
you
look
on this
for
level,
that spot.
right? You want to see if the potential client is at this level as well. You're not just taking regular old headshots.
Because that's boring. That's boring. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to find my niche now. It's more so about, it's like the preacher in me is saying, what's the story? Like, yeah, this is a camera. We take pictures. You could post it and say, ooh, but I think where I'm gonna end up leaning into is the people I'm gonna work with is going to be more so, we're going to take this picture, but what's the story? You know what I'm saying? Do you watch The Walking Dead? I stopped because it started to piss me off.
No, man, that mess up your sleep, brother. I can't.
Oh, you okay?
Listen,
anybody who watched The Walking Dead,
man.
So since you didn't watch it, I'll drop this real quick. Walking Dead has some spinoffs. There was Fear of the Walking Dead, and there was a chick that came on. I forgot her name, but she had this tank. They found her, and she had like a tank truck, an army truck, and she found an old high 8 like video camera, you know, and it's like she kept putting the camera in everybody's face, and she's like, I want to get the story. And they're like, what the hell are you doing with the camera? And she's like, I'm getting the story. So it was a whole part in the series where it was getting the story. So for me, the fact that you can just take 1,000 pictures on your phone, that's cute. But it's like, let's do this and let's get the story. Like, let's take a picture that the story don't have to be there right now, but it's a capture that you can create a story off of rather than just like, oh, I'm cute today. It's like, that's corny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you want to put a little more meat on the bone? You want a little more meat?
Yeah, put some meat on the bone. Because we can see I got a suit on, a fedora hat, whatever. But it's like, there's a story in every shot. Like, I'll do it. Wait till you see these other pictures. I'm gonna let you see these other ones. That it's really like a story to it. Like, I feel that.
And I think that's what this long drawn out, because we got some creatives in the room. We got Gretchen in the room, and she's talking about photos as well. I'd love to see some of her pictures as well. But that's what we're saying, right? Yeah, like I say, it's cute. Yeah, you can just take little phone pictures, but when you go to that extra level, when you think about it a little bit, when you're conscious about what you're doing, right? Mounting lights to your feet, getting your angle right, doing all that extra stuff, then there's a story about it. Those are memorable shots. If it was just you in front of a movie theater, getting your angle right and getting a little background blur with your phone, we wouldn't be talking about the photo. But there was some extra little sauce on you setting up that environment and bringing out the emotion, and that's what's memorable. Those are the photos that are going to continue to live on long after we turn off our cameras and these lights right now. So let me see what's going on. I saw Joel. Okay, so he said nice picture. I thought I saw somebody else say something here. Go ahead, brother. Oh, here we go. Gretchen says I shoot with a Canon. in
Yep.
74. Switch from
Yep.
R5 to her EF and get the shot I want. They have the same solid balance and right field for her, and also because she knows her art.
Yes. That vibe, Gretchen, you hit it on the money.
She
Like,
knows her art.
that's where like I can see years from now, I'll have that love for that A7 IV because of the vibe of it, right? It's not about better, it's about like what's the vibe in the moment. So like the skin that I put on the cameras, like the A7 IV is my sexiest camera.
Mhm.
And the newer, better camera, quote unquote, I just got it in silver. That's my workhorse. But that A7 IV, there's sometimes when me and Tina go out, I just put a 35 on there and I'm like, I'm gonna get whatever that this 35 gonna do. Period. That's it. No load of the
Yeah.
extra stuff, one flash, no off camera, soft boxes and all of that stuff. It's like, yo, we suited up, we going out, and I'm gonna do any and everything with this 35 because it forces you into a vibe. Like
Mhm.
that's I'm just neophyte with photography. Like people that been in the game, Gretchen been in it longer than me. People that's really in the game, they got way more in-depth stuff. But what I'm learning is, and it's what I said in the conference on Monday. I said, people who carry the wisdom got to be able to let it off to the ones who can work the wisdom, right? And those who haven't lived long enough to have the wisdom, right? You got to be willing to be humble enough to grab it when it's given. And so for me, I jumped into let me find out why this dude is shooting with a Hasselblad. Let me find out
Mhm.
why this person is what's the big deal with Leica cameras? It's like, oh, it's
Yeah, why do they
handcrafted,
cost
it's
so much?
metal.
Good Lord.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
do they cost so much? Like, it ain't got zoom, it don't do this, do that. Like, and it's like, yo, it's the vibe of it. It forces you. When the old dude at the store was like, oh, zoom lenses for punks. I was like, dang, dude, like that's all I got is zoom
You
lenses. You
cheating.
crapping,
You
you
cheating.
crapping on it. He's like, move your feet. And I was just like, I didn't take it offensively. I listened to him and I was like, dang, he got a point. And then when I bought my first prime lens, I was like, you kidding me? You literally had to move in and frame. You ain't staying there zooming and cheating. It's not really cheating, but it opens up your creativity to the point where now my son had to do some events. And I said, here, take the G Master and take the 2470. And he's like, well, what about? I said, that's all you need. And
Mhm.
he understood because I'm like, you got to stay out of the way. So
Move
that's
your
why
feet.
you use those. Yep. Yeah, move your feet. Move your feet.
Man,
Man.
I've looked at the Leicas, but good night. I'm looking at this. It's like me when I want it, I don't want it anymore because I had the Neumann. But this is M11 Leica rangefinder, $9,000. I'm talking low because
Yeah.
I don't want Jen to hear me talking about 9,000.
That's a beat. You know what? At this point, I looked into it and I was just like, would I treat myself to it? And I said to myself, nah, because it'll overload me on trying to find a reason to use it. And it doesn't really work with my creativity per
I was
se.
gonna say you probably would lose some of your creativity as well,
Yeah,
right?
I
Because
I
so
would.
much is baked into the camera itself. Mm.
Yeah, I would because it's not it's real crazy to say it though, but it's just like a lot of stuff with tech is about what works with your creativity, or you work to buy to enjoy yourself and to get your high off of it. But if you're really like working, that's when you find out. Take the Manny Ortiz's and different ones. Them
Hmm.
jokers still using the A1 Sony.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they talk about they get the
Well,
newer
the
ones.
A1 is no joke. I mean that really is flagship. That is. I
I
want to
mean,
say
but
what's up to the bishop before he have to step out. Though appreciate you for being here, sir. Well, we gonna get you to spend some money. No, listen, he talking about he don't have no gas. We gonna get you to spend some money. we Bishop be out there missionary on the side of the road on the streets. Boy, he listen. He out there talking about moving your feet. Yeah, the bishop be out there moving his feet.
And what's going on, Bishop? And you know what? Something I just thought about as you were talking. If you don't, if you don't, if you don't build according to your creativity, it's going to cost you in the long run, right? If you build according to your creativity, you'll be more specific. What it is, people don't know what their creative is, and they buy to be creative rather than say I'm creative and I buy to accessorize my creativity. So this is so this is why, you know, I've been off of live streaming in a sense other than for clients, but this is why I can just come in the room, hit a button, everything's on. The cameras are fine, like, you know, the angles and this, that, and the third. And it's like, I'm laughing because it's like HDMI mini, cam links. Look at all this stuff, everybody. Oh, deck link, cam link, something this, that, and the third, and 15,000 cameras and all of that. And you still don't see the lives that they using 4 and 5 cameras. And now, before you know it, something else will come out. And it's just like, why? I'm still using the same thing. And again, the plaques and stuff on this wall, 90% of the albums were done off of the same old gear. While everybody's sitting up in Sam Ash and George's music, getting the latest keyboard, latest disc. I got all the dope drum sounds. We was using Kenny dope drums from 1990 something.
Yeah.
And did albums.
And did Grammy winning albums, not just albums.
Yeah.
You got hardware on the wall. So but tell these young cats these things, man.
Shoot, man. Take it like this, man. In the church, in the good old church, man, the Hammond B3 or A100.
That's that one.
Or C.
That's
C1.
the one with the foot pedals too. Yeah, that's the one.
Dude, them joints been around for years. And out of all the new things they got, Diversity organ and Nord organ sound, whatever, they sound great. But a good old B3, nothing's beating it. Nothing.
Can we get an amen over
in the game?
Can we get it? Because he knows. So yeah, can we get it?
Dave Hunt know it's still in the game. Like what you the joint old as Jacks is still in the game. Okay? Still in the game.
It is. Let's see. That is. That's true. He know.
I know he's all right.
Yeah, I got one, but I think my volume is too loud. So hopefully I don't blow your ears out. Hold on. Well, Lord.
Man, nothing beats that B3, man.
Lord, they're gonna be turbulence on the flight tomorrow. Lord, the Lord gonna get me with that one. Okay.
Goodness gracious.
They're gonna be turbulence on the flight tomorrow. Okay.
And look, how about the did you see that new drone that has see,
I'm not gonna do it. No, I'm not. See, I saw it, but I'm not gonna do it. Saw it, not gonna do it. What you think? You don't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I don't know. You may need it. You may need it because I can see you flying 2 drones at the same time. I can see Tina with the controls for one, and I can see.
Dude, that thing is dope. But here's see, I love great reviewers. Yeah. So somebody posted it and they were like, "Oh, DJI, it's like an Instagrammer guy, a YouTube guy. I forgot his name, but he got his hands on the drone. He threw it up in the air. He showed it, and he had the 2 pictures. Like, which one you like, the 24 or the 70 or something? Whatever the 2 lenses are in one." And people were commenting and stuff, and the one dude was like, somebody was like, "Oh, so I'm not going to get the Pro Mini 3. I was just about to get it," and homie hit a big point. He was just like, "For my needs, I am going to get a Mini Pro 3. And somebody answered, he was like, "Oh, why? Because of the weight thing?" He was like, "No, because the Mini Pro 3 has vertical." I was like, ching, he hit the money right there. See, the why is right there. All my drone BTS is vertical. I don't even use horizontal. It's all vertical. And so if this newest one does not have vertical and you're on Instagram all the time, then okay, whoop-de-doo. I mean, tell everybody to turn your phone sideways and you know, like flying a drone. Look, me and Irvin crashed our drones doing some footage that we had to do. He crashed his, I crashed mine. Like we both crashed the drones. And it's kind of like, do you know how much time it takes to really just get into drone flying and to get footage that's compatible or comparable or like interesting? It's not simple. Like it's doable, but it's just like you literally have to buy a drone and just sit there and fly. So if you fly in drone, but then
be good, Gretchen.
you know, all right, Gretchen, catch you. But here's the funny thing. I'll pick on some people I know. One day they got a drone, next day they got a gimbal, next day they got a camera, next day they got this, next thing they stream. It's like, yo, you all over the place. I mean, you like it's a lot going on.
And again, like you said, where's the footage? How come we you got it all stored on the SD card? I haven't put it out there nowhere yet. I don't know.
So here's the word for people like that. Just say you having fun with equipment. And then you got to work so that you can buy equipment to stay relevant because you're always playing with new gear. You see what I'm saying? And then your market will be, I like to play with new gear, but people want to see. Shout out to Hold Fast. Did you see? So I wasn't trying to do it for Hold Fast, but Hold Fast reposted my picture on their website.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on,
so
man.
If you go to Hold Fast Gear, my picture's probably the one up top now. So if you go straight to Hold Fast Gear, they featured me on there with the strap. And all right, so here's the key Pelzer nugget. I'll drop it. So you see it if you go to Hold Fast Gear on Instagram.
Oh, their IG. Okay.
Yeah, the IG. Not on the website, on the IG. The guy who does this stuff for
big time on the web.
Yo, the guy who does most of their stuff, he is fire. I mean, his pictures are like,
oh my goodness, look at this.
So wait, before you go to me, go to the guy over there on the right-hand side with the camera and the train tracks. Now look at his style, and ironically, look at our gear. That dude, his work is fire. Like, his work is dope as heck, man. And here's the funny thing. We got the same camera. I didn't even notice that at the beginning. We got the same camera gear.
Too. I see he got the small rig too, so the same cage.
But see that camera there's a different camera he has with the G Master lens, the longer one. But look at his gear. Like, look at his pictures. His pictures are like, he's got his preset thing down pat.
Yeah.
That's like a signature look at his, like a slight haze and real kind of clean. And so he's got blue on, I got blue. We both got hats on. And then look at this.
My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen. Hold Fast Gear. Pelzer.
Yo, Hold Fast, that's my crew right there, man. They shout out to my man Swaggart, man. They got that gear. Look at that camera.
I like that right there. That's an old school. That's a classic look right there. Not everybody is rocking that right there. You just put it. Would you put it on some explosives? Lord, where you at? Where you at in Philadelphia, boy? Ooh. So you got a lot of HDR. You got a lot of high dynamic range, so that's your field, your look and feel. With something like this, that HDR look.
Okay, so so here's the crazy thing: the actual raw picture of that is pretty much close, other than the color pop. Okay. So that which looks like a lot of HDR, that's actually the flash behind me.
Okay.
So I put the flash over my shoulder in the back, like right at my back. And so the way the flash is, you can see the flash hitting the leaves on the tree. And so naturally it pulls down the light back there. Oh, you like you see that?
Somebody with a little swag right there said they making it look really fresh. Okay, who over there hold fast? Somebody
And
with a little swag to them.
hey, so this brings out a good thing about people's fear with AI.
Hmm.
Okay, now listen, I'll address the 300-pound gorilla in the room. There's two people that got annoyed with AI. There's the person that got hyped with it because it's like the stuff I can't do, I can allow AI to do it for me and compete with those people who can. And the people who can were fearing that the people who can't are going to match what they can do. That is not a true statement. AI is very smart, but something I said in a sermon is if God created us and with the intelligence that we have, AI is only going to be able to do things at a bigger scale, but not better. And what I mean by that is the pure essence of creativity. AI, no matter how much it programs itself, it never can touch the human emotion like a human can. It's just that we get lazy, we get fearful, and that's when we get stagnant. And that's when it starts to appear that AI is doing better. AI comes up with some great stuff, but that more so adds to the challenge of getting the actual shot. So, like now, you can point the camera at the sky and put a plane in it, right? It's not hard to put a plane in there. And I'm pretty sure AI, you could say, put a Spirit airline over top of me and okay, everybody might go, "Ooh, that's dope with the picture with the plane or the moon sitting right over here." But it's better to go find the moon in that spot exactly where it's at.
Go, come on now. He said,
You got what I'm saying? Like, because the human emotion is going to feel that. And the human emotion, the brain may not be able to say, that's AI, but the emotion is going to say, it's okay, that's dope, but I ain't give me that feel.
it's not
Like
that emotion like you and Joel are saying right now, right? Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Joel. I agree. It's the emotion. Like I kept going because I was just like, even like that movie theater picture, right? You probably could generate AI and say, put neon lights behind me and have a dope picture that right off the back, people might be like, oh, that's a doper picture. Okay, cool. But the consistency of it is the AI is never going to dip into the identity
Exactly.
of where your heart is. It's generated from itself, not the heart of an individual.
And we can see between that too, and we can see the difference between what's real and what's generated. We really
Yeah.
can, right? I can look at an AI image and for the most part tell the difference between something that was actually coming from someone looking through an EVF, through a camera, versus somebody just typing something into Midjourney, an AI algorithm, and it loses that, right? It loses that story that we've been talking about for 5-10 minutes of you in front of the movie theater and the emotion that was generated from that photo.
Yeah, it's like if you use AI to or whatever those chat GPs, whatever, if you use it to do outline stories, intros to, speeches and stuff, after a while, you're not going to flow unless you're always getting the program download. You're going to be off somewhere. So it's kind of like you got to know where to use, how to use. And, I'm not on that side of the fence of like, oh, AI is bad. I'm not on that side of the fence, but I'm at the same side of like, yo, to whosoever will, let them use it. But I personally am like, nah, like I got like 3 presets that I may like throw a slight treatment on, but I take pictures. And here's the funny secret I got. I compose my shots so that when I hit auto, you don't really even see a change in the picture. How about that?
Explain that a little bit.
So you can take a picture in RAW, right? And then you can put it into Lightroom, and then you can hit auto, right? Auto exposure. So it'll like, treat it to give it its auto best look, right? When I hit that button, 90% of the time, the picture doesn't actually look different. Because basically what it's saying is, and I like it, is basically saying, you took it so well, we don't really have anything to fix on it. So like, it'll suggest something maybe, but it's never far off from what I have. And so that's a good habit of mine that I'm like, I try to like I learned how to use the, histogram and all of
Yeah.
that stuff to in my zebras and all. I learned how to get into that so that I don't have to do a lot in post. So my productivity is up and I can get the story out as quick rather than just, throw it on auto, point, shoot, pow, pow, and then you're trying to do something and there's no consistency because you're always relying on something. So my only niche nowadays is my colors and then black and white. And
Okay.
basically it's all in the story. So if you look at a color picture of mine and a black and white picture of mine, they're both the main thing that pulls them together is the story. Like the story is right there.
That is true. Okay. I now that I get the background, I do see the consistency in that. So okay, let me see if I can find one while we're talking. Appreciate you also for Ian coming in and talking about this conversation right here.
Oh,
Listen,
that's cuz, man. That's my cousin, man.
love it, love it.
Yeah, he was our drummer, man. He's a beast. He was holding it down with his cuz, man, for a long time. It's my guy. But yeah, man, it was I mean, look at my room, right? So the room is basically the same thing as like how I try to find a composition in a shot. That's basically it. Like, I literally will sit around and look and I've driven and not taken a picture because I didn't feel it. That's crazy. Like this right here, I stood at that train station for a minute. That was part of a luggage photo shoot. And after I got all the pictures I needed for the client, that I saw the train coming up the road and I was like, I'm going to get this train. My original intent was to do the shutter thing and have the train moving where it's blurred. So yeah, you just hit it. Perfect example. One is color, the other one's black and white. And the energy in both of them, like the story is still there on both, but like the details of it does a whole different thing going on. So you see that one looking away from it.
See, I take the Amtrak all the time from my house down to the Bay Area. I can't just leave my phone, my camera, on a park bench or on top of a trash can or something just for
Yes,
half a
you can.
minute. No, these folks out here is listen. These folks out here around Oakland, around Berkeley, around Martinez, all my Amtrak stops, man. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. If I leave this FX3 or this, listen, not gonna be a good look. Because I'm gonna be chasing somebody and I'm gonna have my suit on, and it's just
You ain't playing.
bruh. Yeah, I can't frame my shot and put it on top of a garbage pail at the Sassoon City Amtrak stop, so I can get my shot right. I just can't do it. So I take my pictures on the train.
Well, see, so that there's another thing, right? So when you hear people get into talking about gear, then you also got to know. Think about people that's like, oh, I got the most expensive this, expensive that, and it's just like, well, how are you going to get certain shots if you don't take the camera out, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're in an environment you never can take it out, or you don't have somebody else to shoot with you, there's another thing. Either you're the person doing the pictures, or somebody has to take the pictures of you. So if you're in it, then you got to set up for it to take pictures of you.
Yes.
If you're doing that, you got to have that kind of gear that's quick. You got to know when to use a 24 or 35 because you can't use an 85 because the camera's going to be too far away from you. Somebody can pick up your camera and run.
You know what I'm saying? Listen. I know Philly. Y'all got y'all folks probably too, but man, again, my stops are Oakland, Jack London Square, Martinez.
Do it in off hours. Just do it in off hours.
That's probably worse. I'm just saying. I love my people out here, but man, it's tough out here in these streets. Amtrak, okay.
Wait, so Kevin says. Okay, he said, I really don't know how you have so many self-portraits. And you know what's crazy though, Kevin? And so I do them because I take the pictures for clients, right? So it's like I'm building up locations for client base so that when people say, hey, we want you to do this shoot, now I know what I know what I'm doing now. Like I know where to take them to because I scoped out the places to take the shots at. That's the main thing.
Cox, no, he live in this neighborhood.
Oh,
ain't no off hours for them type of folks, man.
he round in them streets. He know.
Yeah, look, Cox out here, man. Me and him hooked up not too. Look, see now there you go showing off.
No.
Yeah, me and him hooked up not too long ago. So yeah, Sammy Superstar in the building. Sammy out there. Hey, Sammy, he didn't mess around and bless somebody with a whole bunch of extra old gear too. When I started selling my gear, Sammy said, "What you selling?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was cleaning, doing some spring cleaning too. I saw him blessing somebody with I think he took him to Best Buy and did some recycling. I'm not sure what he was doing though.
You gotta love Sammy, man.
Yeah,
so
okay, what we got right there?
James, I'm not as good as you with this.
Yes, you
what's his name? Because
yes,
but here I'll show you. Is it okay? So this is see these steps right here.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So those are steps. So I got to do a photo shoot for somebody, and this is an old train station, and I'm gonna use those steps as a backdrop. Now that right there is a pretty much a raw footage. It's just exposure level, and so these are the steps. I'm gonna put the subject on those steps and change the angle a little bit and get a dynamic shot. This is a tunnel. So I'm gonna do some pictures in this tunnel right here because they want like an urban type of shot. And I'm probably gonna light this from behind and throw some flash up against the walls to create a wrapped around dynamic effect. That's another picture of the hallway. Those are some back steps there. Notice they're not as golden as the other ones, but they got that rustic feel. There's leading lines on the sides. That's
so
the tunnel.
Are those the same steps though, or are those different steps?
No, these are different steps.
Okay,
these are different steps than the other ones. That's another angle from the tunnel, so that's facing the opposite direction, where the lights in the tunnel are over the top. And then these are different steps here. They got yellow lines in them, and there's a brick building out the back. So I'll probably move to the left to get that higher building and the tree at the top of the steps. This is the train tracks. So if you notice, there's platforms there, and the Amtrak train runs along this station too. And I'll probably put the subject on the platform and, have that track wrap around the back. I'm telling you, this is going to be a crazy photo. That's facing the other way where the trees and stuff are over there and the tracks are flowing in a different direction. That's going down the step. So like, this is the kind of stuff that I sit there and do. And if you notice this angle here, where it's like you got the one line is kind of straight, the other one's pulling in off the left, and then you got like a small like arc in the back of that tunnel. That's the same thing with the steps. So I literally scout this stuff out. That's a plain wall for a straight on shot, just a little bit of light on there, probably throw a color light behind them. And then the post-processing, you bring out the details of that brick, and there's your shot. There's some steps over there. Like all of this stuff, I really just ride around, look at these spots, come up with a vision plan for it, and I'll get these and take these shots. So, yeah, man.
So, okay. So let me look at this. So these are the shots already that you got for the just prep. You haven't given these to the client just yet.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So that when we go out, I'll know where to take them to. You look at them, catch the vibe of the model, and basically, and then you look at the time of day. If it changes and it rains, you want some shelter, then you got a different vibe where you're playing off of the rain, and so that'll create a different dynamic going on. And then the end result that's creativity rather than I got a sharp lens. You know, you throw the softbox in front of them in the studio and they just go cheese. And it's like, all right, that's boring. And like, let's get some emotion or something, you know? Thank you, David. Begin with the end in mind. Boom.
I love it, man. You killing it, boy. JP, hey, the link is on the screen, brother. Come on, come through. I was just watching JP on a webinar earlier. Man, we out here creating. We got some folks like. Are you going to be able to be as creative as you want to be with that particular project and do what you need to do to put that KP on them, or are they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And so that's a part of the intent that I had where, you know, when I started kind of getting a little good with the camera, you had people like, oh, you know, you don't have business cards and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, and remember I said this on one of our lives before, there's the person that's like, yo, I got a camera to make money and that's my bag. Okay, cool. Get you a backdrop, get you, you know, some soft boxes, you know, some flashes, boom, and do headshots all day for every, you know, Sally, Jane, and Jude and Raheem and Roger and Charles. Like, you know, do that, you know, start doing baby photo shoots or then there's the other person, be the wedding photographer. I ain't got time for that. Right. So the creative zone, right? The creative zone is to say, am I doing this for the bag or am I doing this for the belief in my creativity? If I'm doing it for the belief in my creativity, that'll bring the bag, right? But to get the bag doesn't necessarily allow you to unleash your creativity. So now you attract what you do rather than attract people to do stuff for.
Do this for
if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense that we got someone that wanted to join who is also on that creative scale, you know, at the top of their game. I wish I had some you know, some music to, you know, bring them on screen, bring them on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Let me make sure I got my stuff together. Y'all about to be blessed. Hope y'all ready. Googity goo. Ladies and gentlemen, JP High Tech is in this building. Another creative entrepreneur, engineer, consultant, all the things. One man that I know who got brick and mortar. So listen.
Wait a minute. I need to know where he's at in America to have a hoodie and a leather jacket on. Bruh, we are burning up over here. He was
probably just filming somewhere, so you never know.
Okay, I mean, he had to be filming in Alaska or something because it is hot. It is hot as monkey. I'm gonna leave that right there. Dog. I mean,
what's good, family? What's good,
man?
Where in America can you wear a leather jacket at? Because it is, dude. When I say it's burning up,
I mean, cool too. Dude. Look at him. He looks so cool.
You look cool as Jax. I'm just saying. I'm mad that he can wear a jacket.
Listen, you got to create that for yourself, right? You come to my home. It's freaking cold right now. I love it cold.
Okay.
And so I show up the way I love it, and this is it, man. That's the whole JP experience, family.
I like it. I like it. I'm just jealous.
He got in the studio too, though, right? You know, it's probably warm in there, so you know he got cameras, lights. He got real lights.
Exactly.
You know, he's not playing. Man. He don't have them Home Depot lights.
I'm just jealous, man, because the jacket is hot. I like the hoodie. I'm just jealous because I was just like, bro, where you filming at right now?
Home base. He had home base.
This dude in Antarctica somewhere streaming. I'm like, man.
Kevin said he got the AC down to 50.
You got to do it, family. You got to do it.
He gonna floss on right there.
You got to do it.
Shouts out to the encoder that we use. I'm gonna let y'all drop the name, but shouts out to the encoder that we use to be able to do these types of things.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's just nice.
Teleprompters. JP, talk to us, man. I'm gonna get through some of these comments too, but listen, we got you here, and I know you were just doing a virtual conference, talking some things, and so how did that go, brother?
It went great, family.
Okay.
It was really good. We were there to talk tech. I mean, all things gear.
Yeah.
When it comes out to online, productions and live streaming and what have you. And emphasis was understanding that the gear should not be your message, right? That should
Mm.
complement the things that you're doing. There's an issue whenever the gear becomes the content that you're trying to present. In other words, man, you should be able to hold the same conversation even if you didn't have the same gear, right? And so the gear comes to place an emphasis on the things you're trying to say and shine lights and make you say it better, right? That's very important. A lot of times, I get a lot of clients that just want all the greatest, newest stuff. And I'm like, do you even have a purpose behind all of that, right? Why do you need 3 cameras in your studio? I mean, I broadcasted my, podcast for over 2 years with 1 camera because I didn't need more than 1 camera, right? Don't do what Keith Pelzer been doing, yo. I mean, he's in a different mind space.
I don't even use them.
I know, right? Like,
right.
You cannot. And here's the thing: Keith does not have a podcast that he does like every day or every week and all of that. No, he has other projects. He has other folks that come in person in the studio. So he has different stuff. So why do you want to do what he's doing if you really don't have a use for it? Right now. I have multiple cameras in my studio. Why? Because I have courses that I'm recording. I have a community that I'm showing stuff. I'm talking more about tech and helping people understand the gear behind the content that I've been creating all this time. And I am now season 5 on my podcast, understanding that one podcast, one season, got to be at least 24 episodes, right? So I'm on season 5. So again, you got to start somewhere. You got to understand how you grow into things. And as you grow, and you see the need and your community's need, right? The questions that are coming in. And that's how you grow, right? Don't just go ahead and spend crazy amount of money with no purpose behind it and then try to, sell stuff like James Hicks been doing. Right. I'm like, my brother James, man.
What you need? I got some.
I'm like, yo,
microphones.
Dude is selling stuff, man. I message. I'm like, you selling the game? What's going on, my brother?
Right.
But
what's funny about that? I had one of my good friends reach out to me and said, "Hey, I just need to do welfare check, brother. You all right? I see you." I want to make sure you cool. I see you putting a lot of things out there for sale. Just want to make sure you all right. I said, "Listen, man, we just trimming down, brother. We just trimming down."
Hey, listen, I got scared for a second as well. I'm like, is everything okay?
Yeah, I was like, yo, what else is he selling? But what's crazy, JP? I figured he was probably just like, after a while you just have so much stuff, it's redundant. Like,
yeah.
And what we don't do? We don't lean on the people that's what they do. So like for me, and I think you can relate to this, we'll go through like 4 different stands to get the stand that you want. But we can tell you why not to get the Ulanzi stand and just go get that one. We did the work for you. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I with the A7, I bought 4 different cages for it to say on the one camera, I like this cage because, and on that camera, I like it. So when somebody says, I got my A7 and I need a cage and they got the new, I'm like, wait a minute. What are you going to do? Are you going to mount a microphone? Are you going to use it for video? And it's like, well, no, I'm just taking pictures. You just get an L bracket cage and call it a day. And they're like, well, no, because I want to have a mount on the top. What are you mounting on it? I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to help you. Like, don't do it because you're not going to use it. I literally have never mounted anything on my cages except for once or twice.
And see, that's the thing. Wow. That's the truth of the matter because some of us people like this, some of folks like us that we're, really invested into this draw plate and we don't just do it for fun. We actually do it for a living, right? We pay our bills with it. We spend more than the average person. And so for the folks that are, just trying to see what will work best for them, they can check in with us and we'll let them know, listen, man, I don't bought, so many capture cards, I don't build so many studios. I can tell you right now, man, you don't need A, B, and C. Get E. But what?
Right.
Get E. Listen to me.
Right.
Just go get the E, because those A, B, and C's ain't gonna do what they're saying on Amazon they're gonna do, right? And why?
Buy
because
right
we
the first
bought it,
time.
we spent the money. Yeah, I mean, we understand the tech, and we returned it. We're saving you money. Pretty much we're saving you a heartache for you to understand. Oh, okay. All right, I'm good. Don't buy this lens, man. What are you trying to do? This lens ain't gonna do it for you. Oh, yeah, don't buy it, man. Don't buy that lens. So what are you trying to do? Buy the 20 to 200. Bam, you're good. What camera are you using? Are you a Canon or are you a Sony? You watch your ecosystem. Don't just be jumping back and forth because you saw Keith using A7S3, and then you're a Canon ecosystem. Now you want to drop everything, and now you want to end up buying a whole new body, whole new set of no. Invest in your ecosystem.
Folks, man.
Grow in the things that you have. I mean, that's how you got to approach those things.
So look, Philly. So you know what, JP, I'm gonna pass this to you. So all right, North Philly Poet asked a question. Okay, have you taken pictures at something park? Okay, I don't think so. And then the other question I saw that you asked North Philly Poet, I'll let JP jump on this. You said you're looking for a 2470. What's your opinion? I'm gonna let JP take it away, but assuming that you, regardless of what brand camera you have, if you haven't gotten into your lenses yet, and JP, you can totally say something different than what I'm saying. In my experience, the 2470 was the best lens I bought as a beginner because I was able to versatilely use it for group shots, far portrait shots, relatively low lighting. It was a 2.8, so I was cool. And Sigma glass is great. And that's what I use with a Sony. Now, that's what I started with. That's what was recommended by people that have done it before me. And I paid attention. I did my research on, they showed me, they weren't just telling me or selling me something. They showed me this is what I use. And so that's why I picked the 2470. JP, take that, your opinion on that?
He says he's looking for the 2470. Your opinion on the few cameras I have is a A7 III. So there we go. Yep.
Great question. Now, I love what you're saying, man. Whether is regardless of the body that you're getting, man, we always say you need either one lens or 3 set of lenses. When you're a beginner, okay, you got to have your wide angle lens. Typically, it will be the 24 millimeter, right? And then you need the 50 mil, right? And then you have to add the 85 mil to it. It's just a rule of third that we have in the photography, videography world. If you want to buy a set of 3, 24, 50, 85, boom, you're good. Now, if you don't have the money to buy all 3, then you want to go with one, which is, again, I started as well with the 2470. Why? Because you want to do a close-up. You can do that without, losing a lot of resolution, because the bigger zoom lenses, of course, you will lose a little bit in the resolution, right? And so you don't want to do that when you're a beginner, because all the all the resolution is what you want to keep, right? Whenever you have the long zoom lenses, that means that there's either a second shooter on set, right? So if you're doing for a wedding, I started doing weddings, and I will make sure that either I have 2 cameras. Have you seen the wedding photographers that have like one by their waist and one on the back? Yeah. So you have one that's an overall 2470, and then you have one that's a zoom lens 100 or 200, right? So they can be all the way out the back. You shoot those, and then you have the super crisp, sharp ones that you're running around with. So what I'll tell you is have that one, but don't stay there. That's my thing. Because whenever you're starting, you really want to give your best foot forward. And in general, I will tell you right now, even though you can crank zoom in all the way to 70 millimeters, when you use an actual 85 mil, you compare it to a 70 millimeters, the 85 mil has way more punch to it. And that's the zoom factor, right? And that's why, the focal length, you kind of lose a little bit of resolution, But when you take that 85 mil, the signal is amazing, and you just snap it, the bokeh, the sharpness. I mean, you can't go back. That's why some photographers or some videographers are like, you know what? I want to stick with the 3 set of lenses. But again, budget might be, something that you want to consider when it comes down to that. Now, the question that I will ask you is, why do you want to go Sony? Why not Canon? Why not, another one? What's your decision? Why did you select that specific ecosystem? That's something that I will need to know in order to tell you, yeah, go for that brand or not, right? What was the intended use? Is it mostly going to be used indoor? Is it for broadcast? Is it for photography work? Is it for videography work, right? All those things, you need to answer those questions before you choose one. Whenever I'm speaking with clients, I'll tell them when it comes down to broadcast, and that's just personal experience. When I'm doing broadcast work, Sony all the way, right? But when I'm doing photography work, I go Canon. Why? Somebody asked me why. When you're doing broadcast, you want the punchy colors if you don't have a lot of experience. Now, you can use any camera and get any same resolution, tweaking the lights and all of that. But if you don't have a lot of experience, right, and most people do not, and you want the punchy colors, right, you want to go Sony, because out of the box, Sony gives you punchy, bright, vivid colors without you even doing a whole lot to the camera. When you go Canon, Canon has more of a matte finish. So in order to go punchy, you're going to have to tweak some colors, right? If you have a LUT or anything, well, now you need to understand a little more of it. So for broadcast, you want set it, forget it type of thing and go with it. And then you have your Canon, and those I go more on the C-Log shooting. Especially me, I love C-Log 3, right? Because that gives you more of the dynamic range whenever you shoot and when you're doing your post-production work, color correction. Then you can bring a lot of those things back, especially when you're shooting in RAW. I always shoot in RAW, right? And so you're bringing those back, then you understand. Whoa, snap! I can really salvage a lot of those things. And I say, when you're a beginner, shoot RAW. Some folks online will tell you shoot JPEG. Don't do JPEG because you cannot save your work. You cannot salvage anything. Go RAW all the way, because you're not pro. You may not know the best lighting scenario for what you're shooting, but because it's RAW, you can salvage the work. Your clients will never know you're a rookie using this, and they'll get a phenomenal final product. And that's what everybody's looking for.
Well, look, James, hop on this, because I'm glad that JP unpacked a lot of this. So you got both of us on here, and something that I think is very beneficial is differentiating between the person that's doing it for leisure and the person that's doing it for business, right?
Yeah.
Because I admire what JP does, I'm not JP, right? So I pull from things for my edge, right? But I never have to usurp or grab all of it, because I'm never doing what he's doing, right? So then you have, let's take Sammy, right? And then you got some people there, they're just trying to up their IG game. They don't have time for color correction. They don't. Right. So you have to explain RAW to them a little different, right? So because they don't understand RAW for color grade, and like, dude, that was the scariest term to me ever. And then people started saying, "Oh man, I see you hooked that up in your color grade," and I'm like, I don't color grade, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell they talking about, and I'm like, so I'm looking it up, like, dude telling me I'm color grade, and I'm hearing all these terminologies that I'm like, I was just told to shoot in RAW. And I started shooting in RAW, and I'm like, okay, it looks like a crazy matte plain picture. And then when I hit a button, it go poof, and I'm like, damn, that's
man.
And then I'm like, oh, I got better recovery in RAW if it was low light and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But for Keith, I wasn't understand all the rest of the stuff. And some of the client turnover that I had, they ain't care about all this stuff, and they want it quick. So I'm like, some people, they grab information from a JP and others, but they're never on that level, and it ain't JP fault. that he don't know that because
Right.
and JP, I'm sure you understand this.
Yeah.
People have asked you questions and you're assuming that because they tell you, I'm doing this as a business. You know, I'm doing podcasting and everything. So you answer what they told you, but they weren't honest and just saying, oh, it's just me and two of my friends. We just farting around on here. Well, you asked JP about a big podcast, but you don't know how to work a stream deck.
Oh my God.
You don't have the capacity to do all of
God.
that work, and you don't have a body to do it for you. So that's a different type of setup. I set up somebody's room, and as I was setting it up, I was like, who working equipment? Because as I started to get to know them, I was like, you don't even know how to put the camera in manual 1, 2, 3 mode. So how you doing all of this? And they looking at me like, well, I mean, what should I do? Should I get an intern? It's like, now you asking? So it's a different type of conversation for somebody that's just like, look, I just want to get nice looking pictures and I want to point, shoot, click a button and post it. That's it. That's it.
Now, when you ask like that, see, I'm glad that we're having this converation because
and
when you
ask on y'all too, and he do a little camera switching, you see how he floss on y'all too. I ain't mad at you.
I mean, hey, when you ask like that, it changes the response that you're getting. Because earlier I was just saying that now we got. I'm sorry if I ruffle some feathers, man. We got so many Chat GPT experts now. Right? It's real. They don't know the subject matter. They go on Chat GPT. They put it on right there and say, hey, this is my knowledge. It's not, because you can only pretend so much. Okay. Ooh. And if you're asking a question sounding like an expert, you're going to get an expert level response.
That's good. I like it. I like it.
Everybody not
ready
if you're humble. Right there. Say that one more time, because everybody's not ready for what you just said right there. Right.
If you're asking, if you're asking a question sounding like an expert, you will get or receive an expert level response to your question. We have to be honest enough to ask the question pertaining to the level we're at. Right. There's no shame saying, in this draw plate, in this specific subject, I am new to this. Right. Whenever you say that, that's why we have different grade levels. My wife, she's a teacher, right? And so the teacher will respond to you based on the terms that you're using. If you ask me, right, if I'm using true or false colors, and if I have a grade on my camera, now I'm like, okay, maybe this dude knows the terminologies. Let's get into it. Now we're going to talk about zebras and everything. You're going to be looking at me like, what is this dude talking about? But why did you ask me the question using those terms? Because only the professionals that know the subject matter at my level will use that. Just say, hey, I'm looking for the best overall camera. I just love doing photography and a little bit of video on the side, right? But I would like a camera that I can use overall and also sometimes use it online to do some broadcast. That's different. The camera that I'll tell you to do, that's completely different, right?
Yeah.
There's so many cameras today that we need to be specific in the things we're asking so that professionals like us can tell you what you need.
Yep.
This man telling y'all what y'all need.
Look at James, man.
I just want to. Oh my goodness! I got to change the white balance. I just hooked it up just now.
Looking dope, brother. Looking dope.
Let me go back. Oh, my fault. Go. Oh God, no. Okay. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness.
You got it.
Can't take him. Nope. I was just trying to be facetious. Don't even know what that word means. It just sounded good.
No, listen. This is great because there's a trap that people fall in, and this is what I meant by the show me more than tell me, right? Because there's people that I know that have done the work, and I listen in detail, and I've seen some people that I follow on IG literally argue the point. If you're putting everything in this 9:16 format, literally, right, optimized for IG, or you're taking pictures and they're 4x5, right? So first thing I tell people in the camera is put it at, the full frame. Just put it on there because you can always crop it. Or if you want to size your pictures up for your stories, you can put it like in a Sony camera, you can put it on the 916, right? 16 by 9.
Yeah.
Take it, but when you put it in RAW, it's still going to give you the whole thing. Like it'll still show you the whole thing. So just for size, I do put it on the setting to say, hey, these pictures, this set I'm doing for this person is basically so they can throw it on stories. So I size it up that so I know I'm pretty much accurate in the picture. But the whole thing is the fact that if we're putting everything on the phone and we're going for an audience that has a small attention span, you're never being seen outside of your IG, outside of your Facebook. So certain details don't actually matter. And sometimes we're talking to people that got a small budget. We got them getting, this got way more pixels and this, that, and the third. I can shoot everything with my A7 IV. I just happen to shoot with the 5, but I can shoot 90% of the stuff with the A7 IV. And at the end of the day, the resolution that you see in the phone is tomato on the IG platform. Now, if I'm doing it and you're looking at it on different media's platforms and stuff, now it makes a difference. Now all that extra stuff makes a difference. You got people looking at their phones with the dimness on and they go, oh, that's a dope picture. It's like then they go, oh, that picture was nice. But then, you know what? I had on low in my phone and they pulling it up. And people are having pissing matches over exposure. It's like, dude, we doing too much here because we're not really facing the reality of the formats that the audience is seeing it on. So I just put something up on Facebook in a group that I'm in, and I'm getting a ton load of like responses of like, yo, dude, you dope, blah, blah, blah. And you know what they really ranting over? The drone footage in 1080p. The drone footage. I'm like, dog, I got footage. I got footage on my A7 and stuff. They love the drone footage. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I was like, I didn't even have it in 4K nor 2K. I had it in 1080p, and they like, oh, the BTS is so clean.
And here I am looking at your photo and thinking about the composition, the time of the day, the lighting they're using, the flash focus that you have. That's what I'm looking at for the composition of your picture. See the difference now.
Yeah,
what you're saying is
the pictures are out of the camera, but the video is all out of the drone. And I got that tip from a YouTuber that got the Inspire. Right?
Okay.
The Inspire drone got the point of view drone and flying stuff around. Yeah. Got all the DJI drones and was just like, yo, majority of stuff I just do it on my my Mini 2. And it's just like,
which I got right here. Yep.
And I'm sitting there like, that's the secret that most people don't talk about. It's the small stuff that sometimes people are following us because they're trying to win, but they don't have that big budget. Most of us, we floss because we want to floss, but the real help is simplifying it. It's like me being a preacher. I don't get up in the pulpit and do Greek and Hebrew. Who want to hear Greek and Hebrew on a Sunday morning?
You said something earlier that I want to piggyback on.
Done.
So what you said that I like, and it's so dope that, we having this, perspective discussed during this show today. What you said is so real, and I'm about to add a different perspective to it. Most things that we're posting, you're 100% correct, is right here on the phones, right? That people are looking at stuff on. Now, folks, I want you to listen to me and listen very carefully, right? Not everything you're going to do will stay on the phone, okay? Listen to what Keith is saying. Because you guess those dudes or those folks, those brothers and sisters, I'm like, well, hey, so don't worry about it, man. Just as long as it look good on the phone, you're good to go. Well, if you really want to be paid top dollar, right? Those folks that are going to pay you high ticket are not just going to look at your stuff on the phone. I had a client that, booked us for their website work. And to design the website, 100% of the pictures that they sent us were snapped on iPhones. It looks great on your iPhone, bro. It looks fantastic. Here's the problem, though.
Right.
We can't use that for a web design work.
Mm-mm.
Okay. The second you put that, because you got to increase the resolution for a website. The second you try to put that there, now it looks blurry. Now it looks terrible. You're like, why doesn't it look as sharp as yours? Because one thing you're forgetting is the density of the image has been uploaded. Right. Let me slow that down. I don't want to be too technical. Whenever you're using Photoshop and you're exporting a picture, a high quality resolution picture, let's say from a raw image, whenever you color correct in Lightroom, you export it, now you bring it to Photoshop and you're creating a framework for a website, you need to export that picture in at least 300 DPI. Okay. Whenever you export that, and that's the level of DPI that your pictures on your iPhone do not have, right? Which goes back to the subject matter. What's the final shelf, life of the product? Where is it going to be living at? If what you're doing, the intended usage for it is going to be living on Instagram, don't worry about it. But if you are going to have a business website, you're a speaker, you're a creator, you're a pastor, you're a teacher, coach, what have you, you need now to pay somebody that has a professional camera with a professional lens that will take professional photos for you. Please understand, because Keith, I've had personally a lot of pastors, and I know what I'm saying, okay? A lot of ministers that believe all you do is use the iPhone and you're good to go.
But wait,
I'm gonna
JP,
let you talk to him.
Well, no, here, JP, because you hit it right on the money. Because you basically exposed a part of the conversation that people don't know. This is good with you and me on here with James. Case in point, I direct people to people like you, depending on what their case is. So what James and I normally talk about is what we, the creatives, use for us, right? Me, perfect example. I up the game with the cameras so that all my leisure, fun shots, I'm taking them in RAW, right? And I got big megapixels so that I can downsize it, play with it, chop it up, whatever. And if somebody says you should use that for your website, oh well, I got it in 55 megapixels. I mean, megabytes of a big file to use for that, right? But here's the thing: I can do that. James can do that. You can do that. Now, the other consumer creative, they got to know you got to hire somebody. So somebody came to me and was like, oh, I'm trying to get my whole image and stuff. And I'm thinking about you at the time, but you way down in them Tennessee streets down that way. But if they was down that way, if you was up here, I'm like, oh, you want to go holler at my man JP, because just because I know how to shoot a good picture, I'm not your end all be all. So as David or somebody else said, you got to think of the end in mind. So if you're just a little model and you like, oh, I just need to upgrade my Instagram. Well, sure, you can get a ZV-E10. You can get a ZV-E10 with a 16 millimeter and just go pow, 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 pow. Do I need a flash? Nope. Just find some good lighting and hit a button in Lightroom and you good. However, if you are looking to be a actress, a full-time model, and this, that, and the third, either you got to up your equipment, you got to talk to somebody that does it professionally, or let's cut across the field and talk JP language. You need to budget and hire somebody. So in other words, you don't need to buy A7C. Nope. You need to put that money into paying the kid that's trained by JP that knows the right equipment, because you don't have the capacity to learn color grading, raw footage, megapixels, DPI, and all of that stuff. You need to stand in front of the camera and go cheese and get paid as a model.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
So you don't have that time. Again, case in point, like us, I have done production. I can take clients. You got people that's asking us to build rooms. so they can get clients, but they don't have the skill set to handle clients. So you shouldn't build the room that we built. You don't need more than 2 cameras, because for you just sit in front of 1 or 2 cameras. But that is not your lane to have clients. Case in point, Irvin Fryer is one of the smartest dudes, because all of the good, cute gear and stuff he got is for him and 1 or 2 other people. Irvin is not trying to sit there and do what you do or what I do and host 5 people in his room switching cameras. Yep. Irvin Fryer's not going to do that. But for himself, 15 cameras around the room. Oh, purple lights all over the place. He going to do that for him. If that's what you want to do, people, good. But don't say, I'm going to host and have clients and stuff. You ain't built for that. That's the stay in your lane part, because then when you guys start turning this stuff over to clients and they go, oh, this, that, and the third, I want to repurpose it. And now you're looking dumb, because it's like, oh, I ain't have it in 4K and I don't have a B camera and blah, blah, blah. It's a clusterfunk of stuff. So back to my main point. If you're self doing it, where's your end all be all? And JP is absolutely right, because he's a branding expert. He's already looking out for Keith's a reverend, and Keith is possibly going to be over here and over there. So Keith can't just take it out his iPhone. Preachers, hear what Keith Pelzer is saying. Hire a guy like this handsome dude on the other side of the screen. It's not your lane, boss. It's not your lane. Pay the money and get it done right. Go ahead, James. Hook him up there. Explain what he's showing on that screen, JP.
I keep saying brick and mortar. This is showing the man's building right here, right? So you don't have to believe me and Keith. You don't have. You can think we buy that we just talking what we want to talk. I haven't put no Amazon links up. Haven't put no Best Buy, affiliate links up or nothing. But JP Hightech over here. This man right here is the real deal, Holyfield, and I'm showing his website.
He said Holyfield, man. You killing me, brother.
That's how the line go. You gotta say real deal Holyfield. That's it.
You need to go.
Man, I love him.
You need to go Google him. Man. So I mean, these are just a handful, a smattering of his clients.
Man.
And
we have so many, man. I'm grateful for that. I thank the Lord, man.
We got so
Perfect Zone Productions, man. Perfect Zone Productions is the company. perfectzoneproductions.com or .org will take you there. But yeah, man, we're a branding agency. We're based here in the state of Tennessee, but we travel all around the United States, man. We're talking branding, photography, videography, software development, mobile TV application, web designing, studio, building studio, broadcast studios, and all of that. I mean, anything that is in the, spectrum of branding and creative designs, man, my team, we can handle that for you. But I wanted to mention something that is amazing on the other side of the spectrum. Keith was just talking about. You also have the amazing folks that are like, listen, I can afford all of that. I can afford all the amazing cameras, man. I can afford all the expensive stuff. I don't have a problem with that. I got a job. I mean, it's a great hobby for me. I love it and all that. But where I have a problem with, and again, this is who I am. I shoot straight. Everybody that knows me, that's how it is. The fact that you can buy the gear that I own does not instantly give you my experience or expertise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious.
He's right.
Just let that marinate for course. Hold on now. Let that. Ooh.
I mean,
the fact that
you don't have my expertise because you can buy my same gear.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we sit down, trust me, you don't know the gear. I know it from inside out, outside in.
Right.
You don't. Mm-hmm. There's one thing to look cool, and there's another thing to be cool. So again, what are you trying to do? Are you just trying to look cool, or you're truly trying to build something? If that's the case, be humble and understand that the best place to be is to be in the room where everyone is smarter than you. That's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do that, man, I'm telling you, you will always have a leg ahead of anybody else. Surround yourself with smartest folks in the room, man. But you have those folks that do not want to take the time and actually learn, understand, play around. You know, I love what Keith does. He plays all the time with his gear. Listen to me, folks. He is always trying stuff, playing around. It's not everything that he shoots that is online. See, one time I said on a post of a fellow creator, and I said, man, you have no idea how many external hard drives I have of footage that nobody ever seen. Now, that's from a professional standpoint. Even somebody that's having fun, even with your phone, how many pictures do we take before we select the best one?
Right.
That's why we buy them big old 1 terabyte phones, right?
Right.
I mean, think about it. Keith goes out. He doesn't snap 1 or 2. He snaps a whole lot. I don't have to ask him. That's how the cookie crumbles. Yeah. Then he comes back, goes through everything he shot, select the ones he wants to select for a specific post or share, maybe keeps the rest for another time, right? Or he keeps it for himself, is on the hard drive somewhere, and he keeps it moving. One day he's going to have a use for it. That is how it works. So by the more you shoot, the more you actually use the gear, the better you become. And that now opens horizons for you. Because one thing is to sit and complain that you're not getting opportunities. Well, let me tell you something, coming from a branding standpoint, folks. I'm not sure you guys know Keith Pelzer. You need to go online, look him up, okay? Take the time to see everything he's doing. A guy told me once that he's not getting clients because he doesn't have clients to show his work. I told him to do something that Keith has been doing. I said, in this world that we live in, you can't sit around waiting for a client that's going to book you so you can do a job in order to show to other potential new clients. You need to create the opportunities for yourself. That's what Keith Pelzer has been doing. Whenever you can show what you can do, it doesn't matter what the purpose was for the reason why you shot that thing. The only thing people want to know is, who shot that? You did? Do you do this for a living? Because I'm looking for the same thing. Now you have a portfolio of what you can do. Now you can prove to folks that these are the stuff I've already done. I have the experience because I did it. I know how to do it. If you look,
look at what you did for Charles. Was it Charles? I was on Charles's. I was on his platform, and I was like, "Yo, this stuff is dope." He was like, "Oh, JP put it together," and I was like, "See, to your point, and you can take it back over to your point. It's what when James and I was on earlier. I was saying, if you're the person that's doing it, or you're into getting gear, you're trying to help people, you have to show it more than you talk it." Right? Because if you trying to say it, you sound like everybody else until they see it. So like it's funny, James. JP read me like a book, and we didn't even have a conversation. He hit it right on the money. Because if I decide to do a book, I got all my pictures for my chapters.
Yes.
Right. By the time Zelu hit me up, I got a bunch of pictures just with glasses on, with their glasses. I'm gonna do the same thing with hats. So I'm stacking that. That's me. Something I want to push at JP that's going to be funny is, so there's a difference here. I'm the person that can take my own pictures. I'm the person that can make my own tracks and stuff. But then there was the person that can't make their tracks. They don't know engineering, but they're trying to get to that endpoint, and they don't know to say, this is where the JPs come in at. This is what you get a key for. So like, if I move to Tennessee, I'm gonna work for JP's company because JP know what I can do real good, and say Keith will be the arm of the creative shots. But Keith's not your guy for videography. I can do great videography, but I am not professional in videography, setting it up. I don't like to do that. I can do it, but I don't like to do it. And that's the thing where people don't know how to separate. But you got to know when to get the help. And like JP saying, stop being so cheap. We have to surround
ourselves with the people that got the skill set, right? And we, again, stay in the lane. We stay in the lane, right? So,
or we send a false message, right? Because that's when I correct people when they go, okay, so like case in point, let's jump on what I said tonight. my BTS is from my drone, and I deliberately, for file size, I don't even change it to 2K, 4K, because I don't have a need for it on the social media I'm playing it on. However, if you want to do a commercial for your company or advertisement for your church platform, and you're going to be showing it here or there, and one day you might be with TD Jakes or Tony Evans or something, don't expect Keith to shoot it in 1080p. Matter of fact, don't even expect Keith to use a drone Mini 3. I'm going to send you to my guy in Jersey that has a bigger, better drone. I'm going to send you to JP because you need it on the website. You need this, you need that. You need staging. You need the storyline. You need the setup. You need the right colors. You need makeup and stuff. I'm not your guy for that. And you can't go to JP and say, well, Keith did it in 1080p. No, because
come on,
JP, you know what I'm talking about, right? People will barter you against the other person, be like, well, man. JP, hold up. Well, Keith did it, and he only used the such and such. And JP's going to be like, and you know what? Because Keith was having fun. Right? Yeah. And Keith's backup plan is not the end goal, what you want, but what you want, you need to pay me X, Y, and Z. That's a whole nother conversation, but I want to just throw that out there.
Hey,
I'm
JP,
very careful. I'm very careful in saying less is more. I have a reason for saying when less is more, but I will never tell people to not do something if I know that where you're trying to go is here. Don't ask me to do a book photo shoot, right? And you need to replay all of these pictures in different places and platform, and you just want to show up and take a picture on the subway steps. No, you need makeup. You need a spotter. You need X, Y, like no, No, I'm not your guy for that.
Yeah, man, you gotta go through the whole 9 yard, man. You gotta do scouting, you gotta do setup, you gotta do project planning. You gotta write the script. You have to have the DP on set. You have to have your team. You have to have the follow agent that's gonna make sure that you're having everything you need, that you're comfortable. Because of course, your mind, if you feel sad, is gonna show up in the video, right? And we want to make sure that you're good. We want to make sure you're not thirsty, you're not tired. All of that will display through, because whenever you blow, the bigger you blow something up, the more exposed and vulnerable you become. On a smaller scale on the phone, you may not notice it. But you take that same picture now, you blow that up on a, 85-inch TV, you'll be like, yo, I didn't notice this in the photo. Yeah, because it was too small for you to see. So that's what we're telling you. When you put it on certain platforms, right? If you're doing that for TV broadcast, I'm telling you, man, CBS and all those channels, CNN, all, it is a different ball game for a reason, right? The makeup you didn't need to put on your face because it's just for Instagram. Now you're going to need that because your pores and everything now is going to show on that big TV. Why? Because you didn't cover that with that makeup. Now, hey, now everybody can peak point all your... well, I'm just saying, man. Let me stop right there. It's very important.
Well, so let me say this though, man, because again, I told you I was on a pitch clock tonight. I got to go.
Oh, he got to get on a bougie. He got to get that private jet out.
So leave me alone, man. And I think my Elgato's back here need a firmware update because they tend to do this little light thing right here. So
I see that. Yeah,
you see that, and I can't have that. I can't. My Elgatos I notice when they need a firmware update, they'll start doing this. So.
That's dope.
You know what that is? That's the Lord telling me as well that we gonna
time to wrap it up, man.
No, we gonna set you up like crack dealers again. We gonna.
What's up, AJ? Cross the pond. I see you, AJ. Alec.
Well, I got it right this time. I didn't say crack. Crack dealers. We just give you a little bit. I'm gonna get this analogy right one of these days. Well, we gave y'all a little bit. Yeah, I saw Mr. Johnson there. See, that's how long we've been talking. It's morning time now. It's Friday.
Oh, it's Friday.
Yo,
Mr. Alec Johnson, who is coming to the United States. He's coming to Texas.
When?
And doing Alec, put it in the comments, man. When you coming?
He coming?
Yeah, he's doing an event in Texas. How to be on point when you're doing in-person
Yo, I didn't know
sessions
that.
and all that stuff. Yeah, so Alec Johnson is coming, and he is the man behind the man with the man.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could come out there and make it, but I'm gonna be there in spirit. JP, appreciate you for coming, brother.
You gonna be in Dubai?
Always
or
a
something?
pleasure, man.
See, don't do that. I'm not gonna be in Dubai.
He gonna be in Dubai.
I might be. I think I'm gonna be in Boston for the little ECAM event. When he's
told
here,
you he's
I
going
don't
somewhere.
know, but,
Told you.
You know what I
35,000
need,
feet
James?
in.
I need some of your vacation passes or
Bruh.
timeshare, whatever you got to make you travel so much, man. You got to share that with me.
I'm married well, brother. I'm married well. Listen,
she knows how to plan.
Yes,
She
my
got
wife
going.
is the reason why we stay at. Yeah, I'm gonna give my
dope,
shouts
man.
out to Mrs. right there. Every 2 weeks, y'all, Conscious Conversations. Me and KP, and then we brought this man in right here, JP High Tech. I'm gonna put your links in. I know I showed it on the screen as well, man. But
yes, sir.
Just pleasure having you on. You got the keys to the front door. Come on, come in anytime.
You got to see that the BTS of JP doing branding, like the work from front to back. What's that? Because what's the one I saw? I saw one. It was a female client of his. And I was just like, I already knew it, but to see it, I was like, oh, this okay. I see what he doing. And then he launched this spot, and I was like, see, I was just trying to show people. So people do check out what JP does as far as business, the branding from here to there. It's a whole process, and it looks good. Looks real good.
Appreciate you, man.
And
that helped me to say, James, that helped me to say, I'm not doing that. I ain't got time for that. People be like, yo, Keith. I was like, nah, I ain't doing it. I was like, I'll take your picture. You can give it to JP.
Okay.
Tell JP to call me, and JP gonna be like, Pelzer, I needed an X amount of megapixels and raw, blah, 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 upload it to the thing. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing all that other stuff. I ain't got time.
Man.
Okay.
That's it. Let's be clear.
KP, reach out to In Philly Poet, man. He's got a couple of questions here. He was talking about software, then he was talking about software beginner photographers need to learn. What do you recommend? I think I did a short the other day talking about learn that Adobe Suite. Listen, don't sleep on the Adobe Suite. There's a lot of other stuff out there, but the end all to be all from the industry perspective, you need to know how to work around Lightroom. You need to know how to work around Photoshop, right? Just get that down. Premiere maybe, but because there's a lot of other options. There's DaVinci Resolve. There's Final Cut. But man, if you got to get that Lightroom down, right? That's that one. Gentlemen, I got to go because this flickering in the screen back here is killing me. I'm gonna go do this Elgato update.
Hey man, you good? Appreciate you, man. Y'all have a blessed night. Honor to be here. I mean, for the folks that want to connect with me, is handle JP High Tech, JPHIGHTEK, everywhere, man. Always an honor to connect with folks. Keith, man, always a pleasure to be here. I saw y'all tonight. I got to jump on, man. I'm here. I'm in the studio. Let's do it, man. I appreciate y'all opening the door for me. This is family, man, and looking forward to learning more from you guys. Appreciate what y'all do, man.
See y'all in a couple weeks.
My man.
Blessings.